Welcome back, everyone. I am Captain Foley.
And I am Connor Cockings A.
I'm Captain Foley, eh? The Canadian A. Yes, we're here today to talk about the new and improved refit Discovery and NCC 1031A and compare it to the original.
Because I'm sure a lot of you said, what is Trekyards going to say? And you can watch our first reaction yesterday. But of course we're going to do renders. Of course we're going to do comparisons. Of course we're going to be really fancy. You're not going to find anywhere else. Stuart, fair to say, it's more change than either of us thought. And I pretty much guarantee as we go through today, we're going to see even more changes.
Well, before that, I'm going to remind the audience that they can check the description below for an Eagle Moss link. Click that link, head on over. You can get your own Discovery. I'm sure they'll have the A soon, but this is the XL one here. You can use the discount code Trekyards10 to save yourself 10% off your order. So follow the link in the description and all the instructions. Get your own ship if you so desire it, because Eagle Moss is a good partner of ours and we love them, so you should too. But yes, my first reaction, I was quite shocked. I was like, yes, because we called it in our prediction video, and actually for a while now, as you reminded me, that they needed to change the design. There's a few flaws with it. It all goes back to the Brian Fuller original idea for it, and we never thought they would. And the first line we hear is, it's been 3 weeks. Discovery has undergone a refit, and it's like, yes, awesome. That's exactly what we've been saying ever since they went to the future. They need upgrades. They need to fix the ship.
I was so thrilled to see this because it is what millions of fans have asked for. I mean, Discovery is a controversial ship, one of the most controversial ships, because it is just a fundamentally flawed design. As you said, Brian Fuller designed things into it that then completely got lost in the shuffle. And so therefore, our aspects that would not be the same if they actually had their own way, the right design team, whatever. I thought, but the first picture, though, Stuart, is the first picture we see. I've tried to match it, and it is the same, but at the same time, no, it isn't. And this is a licensed CBS model, not the original one, obviously. It's a lower detail mesh. Do please forgive me for that, but it is a licensed model based on the graphics from the original, so it is as accurate as they could make it. Looks a lot better. The copper is gone. Thank bleep. Copper made no sense. And that was just because Brian said, I want copper. That was the only reason.
It's also the story behind the registry number. Brian Fuller's a fan of Halloween. So 1031. You figure that out. But that's how decisions were made early on. So
Spins don't want to spin. There's no logic behind just because I want it. Yeah.
Yeah, originally the bridge module, the center ball was supposed to be like on a gimbal. And that got changed to the... Anyway.
It spins around it, yeah.
Lots of videos on the Discovery in our past catalog, so go back and check those out if you want to see that stuff. But yeah, for this, I mean, I noticed right away the hull plating, the hull color was different, which was great. The more you look at it, the more changes you see, though. One thing I didn't notice, and I just noticed when we were talking about our first reaction, is the connecting points between the outer ring and the inner ring are gone, which I think is kind of not necessary. Like, those would be hallways, you'd think. They'd be kind of important. I get future tech. The saucer part probably still spins to accommodate the spore drive, but taking those away, they also punched out holes in the back of the secondary hull, so they're taking away internal volume from the ship. Which maybe with their advanced tech, they fixed the turbo lifts shafts, so they can actually put the quarters that they're all the internal volume they're taking out in other areas, they can put in the turbo lift shafts, because now they have modern turbo, and with the new badges, really, they don't even need turbo lifts. So come on, guys.
Yeah, now that was one thing that caught me straight away. Kind of feels, as you said in a previous video, the Tron ship kind of feels like the thing they used to, the whatever they're called, the discs.
Their identity discs.
There you go. Just gonna go. Feels like that, honestly. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it doesn't spin anymore. Because the way it's in, I mean, there's a slight hole there's a slight slit still, but the way it's connected to me feels like it doesn't spin anymore. And I would love that. Because, come on, the spinning was to eject energy from the spore drive. If you've now got everything about the ship is now improved, you don't need that. You've got 900 years of technology to improve that. Lose the spinning would be a big improvement. That's one of those things that only because they told them to at the start.
Or even have, like, lights just spin and throw off the energy that way. I want to see a new visual for a spore jump.
Well, if you look, I mean, they've actually removed a lot of windows and replaced them with light zones. Because now hold me for a second. So you've obviously got the bridge dome, which I much prefer how the bridge looks now, much cleaner, much simpler. But you've still got the windows below the bridge, as in on the inner ring. You can see the exact same three arrangements. So the windows still exist, but the windows below it are in new recessed pieces, which we can see around the inner ring are flat white lights. Clearly they're not windows because we can see windows. So my guess is those are going to like pulse out. Like in the context of the technology, those now just send out the energy, so it doesn't need to spin. Simple, effective, and yeah, I can imagine the ship still like lightnings, but then goes down. But you don't need that for spinning. Like, let's clean it up cause it looks so much cleaner and sleeker. And futuristic, it does look better. The silver or the blue silver makes a big difference.
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely got Star Trek Online vibes when I first saw the 3/4 view. That being said, with the windows, it's interesting because you pointed that out, and the one thing I noticed right away was the neck windows. In the one shot where we go back to the nacelle, they're there still. They were a lot smaller, like porthole windows. Now they're still portholey, but they seem like there's more of them, or they're longer. They just look different, and the way they angled the neck as well. The neck it doesn't dip as much. It's more of a stretched out, which looks a lot better instantly.
The neck is one of those subtle improvements that instantly harkens to the Voyager and Enterprise D. It's a ton better. But still, on the first picture though, I actually love the way the Aztec is now just big plates. Just that simple, something about that. The two-tone looks good to me, and the registry. Gone is the absurdly huge registry that is just, what are you doing? I mean, hey, at least it's not on the back of the saucer like the Cerritos. That said, though, it is very, very easily missable. It's now, because you need that red and black, so it's kind of a win-loss situation. Obviously, in the close-up, you can notice it directly. But I do like it smaller. It blends in better, you know?
I do too, but as I said, I didn't notice it was the A until like the third viewing after somebody said it. I had to go look, because I didn't catch that. And I'm the ship guy. I'm looking at the ship. I'm looking at all the details. I missed the registry completely because I never, in a million years, thought they would do that.
Yeah, the registry is tiny, and now it's black with a white rim. Very odd. But speaking of, and in those earlier pictures when they do come off the hull, you get to see the hull plating. It's, a bit bump mappy, but it's fine. They've now included the actual dot.
Oh, for the robots?
The robots, yeah. But obviously they weren't invented when Discovery was invented in terms of the show canon. So now they've included those because they weren't on the ship. So now they are part of the function, and now you can visibly see them throughout the hull. They definitely remove the existing phasable turrets, which makes sense. And I wonder what the other emplacements are, because the hull is there is little white things. So I'm guessing, just like little phaser emplacements. But obviously they should be smaller and more advanced.
Oh, you mean the little balls with the 4 white lights?
Yeah.
I think those might be energy dissipation things. Actually, I could see them being phasers. That's a perfectly good. But if you're right and the ring doesn't spin anymore to do that, I could see those like ejecting like something before the spore drive jump.
I can imagine we might get a shot because they want to. I mean, they've got a good gimmick like the holograms in Picard, the replicatable matter. So I can imagine if those little dot things are the weapon emitters. I can imagine we get a scene where it flies in and then you see like the phasers just appear, and that wouldn't be a problem. I would have no problem with that. It would be a good visual, and it would go pew pew, And then you can say, turn the phasers into pulse phasers, and they'll pulse phasers. That's really that's a cool future tech that is sort of already established, give or take, and I could understand it and be like, okay. And in terms of like giving them armaments, it's just a replicatable matter pod, which does whatever you need to do.
Well, let's move back to the next thing they talk about, the Detachedness Cells, which I thought was a great addition. I was wondering if they were going to do it, and yes, I can see it increasing maneuverability. A lot of people don't get that. I just think that some kind of energy binder that keeps it in place would be a lot stronger and more flexible during high maneuvering than an actual strut, something that's solid and rigid. So I can totally buy more maneuverability. Now the problem I have is I can just see this funny visual. They didn't test the spore drive with the new tech. So the detached nacelles, the ship goes and then the cells just sit where they are or fly off into space when it spins. And the ship jumps and there's no nacelles. That'd be funny.
Should be like Sebulba's pod racer.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
Oh no. Yeah, I don't know why necessarily. I've no problem with the nacelles being what they are now because that's just the tech. And it does give it an advanced feel. It's weird, but it makes sense in the context. Like, they'd want to give them up-to-date tech. You know what I mean? It isn't just about internals. It's about, yes, you need new warp nacelles because those old ones can't do shit comparison to now. This is pre-warp, pre-TNG warp scale nacelles. These are like warp 5, warp 6 maximum, new scale.
And the one thing that I noticed last night on my live first reaction was people didn't understand how the detachedness cells would work. And I'm like, you're unfortunately, you're stuck in your ape brain, as Doug Drexler would say. You can't think future tech. You can't think how things would work. And I think detachedness cells, we have Bluetooth technology today. So it's not a leap for me at all to think that detachedness cells would be a thing.
It's just a wireless energy field. That's it. That's it. Literally nothing else. Just a magnetic energy field. Done.
And I know people are going to complain about the maneuverability and the detachedness cells, but we have no issues with that.
I think it was just something to say. Like, it sounded cool. I don't think that really, like, but that's the thing though. Is it more maneuverable? Is it because you've got new hull plates, you've got new impulse engines, you've got new warp nacelles? Like, or is not everything put together more maneuverable? You know what I mean? And besides, we saw Discovery. They can do this. We've seen them. They're more maneuverable than the Connie, than the refit. They're absurdly maneuverable. So, I mean, it's a bit of an irrelevant statement anyway. But in terms of nacelles, yeah. So the second picture, you can definitely see the neck change. Much sleeker, much nicer, definitely reminiscent of the E and such. And it brings an interesting question. So that neck is different. Okay. The nacelles don't look different here, but we'll get into that. They've now cut up the pylons and the impulse engines are different. So does that not mean the entire secondary hull is different? Because if they're already changing that much, shouldn't they just change it? Like, it just looks different.
Yeah, it does seem like the entire secondary hull is different for multiple reasons. But yeah, those cutouts I didn't even notice those at first, even though they're glaringly obvious. And then the impulse engines, yeah, I'm like, okay, they recessed them a little bit. But later we see a shot of it from the back for the next time on, and they're actually a different shape, and they still haven't closed the door. I guess they haven't figured out the technology to close the shuttle bay door, but
that's 32nd century, like late 30th.
This is they got new force field in there. It's even stronger, so now they doubly don't have to close the door ever.
Which is funny because replicatable matter just the door. If you're going to rip apart the nacelle, change all the power feeds to the warp core because they're not going to be at all the same. Change the warp core out, change all the impulse units, change all the impulse connective, change how all the warp power all connects together. Well, you gutted the entire secondary hull, like the refit, which is great, but I think it's more different than we think. It is kind of like, well, if you swap out 58% of a ship, is it the same ship? Yeah, but 2% the same.
Also, the interior, the consoles are different. They got that funky, like, adapt to your hand stuff, and even Washika, she's like, ooh, it feels like glass. It's so smooth, and each person, it adapts to their user interface. And Reese, he takes the hologram from the one side, looks at it, which I thought was super cool and really futuristic tech, and then puts it over on the other side, and it's actually, that hologram is actually the updated refitted ship as well, just so you guys know.
Although there are versions of the original Discovery still on displays with the pylon.
Yes, there are. Yeah,
mixed bag.
But I thought that was cool. Like the amount of tech that's inside is. I love how she says it doesn't look any different. Do we really need this? It's like, oh, it's different. That's just because they didn't want to spend the money on rebuilding the sets. So maybe they did say it's for ease of transition that we kept it like that. So that's probably why if we see engineering and it's been completely replaced, it looks the same, because
it's the least they could have done, because all they really did is they just put a replicable matter thing inside their consoles. That's the only thing they did in the inside. Like when they walk in, it's like no, it's the exact same. Like there's no impressiveness. I was expecting at least a slight paint change, something different. But like you say, like they've still got a week-on-week filming schedule, and they don't want to spend the money to do that. Hopefully by the end, be nice. But yeah, at least they give a reason why it's the same, because you guys will not know how to use new stuff. Let's give you the old stuff and just give you the one new feature that is the cell, the gimmick feature that actually works. But Stuart, the third picture though, as we continue our line, is the 3/4, which we're very happy to get because boy, we needed something of the entire ship. And it does show, vibe-wise, both very similar and very, very different. Thoughts?
Yeah. And this is, well, like I said, this was the shot that impressed me the first time watching it. Seeing this, I'm like, oh my God, that looks really great. Like I said, it's the Tron ship. It's got the glows everywhere. It's very Star Trek Online-y as well. And the new nacelles with the shapes look like the pods on Battlestar Galactica, only turned upside down.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Boy.
But the striping, I hope the nacelles are shorter. It appears they are from this picture, but I'm not sure yet.
The fact they've also still got the end like wings, and I was very careful to match focal lengths because I think I got very close with this. And this is at 96 millimeters, I believe, and it's the same length of nacelle, but they feel about the same. So I'm going to say they're about 80% the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I just wish they were shorter. That's all I was trying to say. No, but this shot's great. The deflector immediately stood out to me. The shape of the secondary hull is completely different. It doesn't have the lower triangular part. It's all put together, and it looks so much better that way. It's just such a great addition.
I mean, it is flatter now, and we don't necessarily like flat ships. There's even less depth. But clearly, yeah, I mean, the secondary hull, it's obviously just a different secondary hull. You know, you can see it. It's not the same hull.
Again, the neck looks thinner. There's a few slight things, like the ball on the bottom of the saucer seems smaller as well.
Much nicer. Much nicer. And there's obviously a perspective thing. You know, it's hard to...
Just the addition of, or the change in that deflector and just the slight little details that they changed. Well, it appears slight at first, but then the more you look, the more you see.
Because you can tell they literally just built a new secondary hull. The deflector is not at all the same. At all. And in fact, there's no deflector in a sense of it's just a flat space. But I mean, fine, sure, make it. I'm absolutely fine with that. You know, in this context, looks fine. And I'm interested in the fact that we can visibly see on the license model how many windows they have. You know, they've got windows next to the deflector. Well, they're not really deflector, but the grills next to the deflector. But now they've been swapped into just lines of color, which is what we saw in the previous image. I think they are, I guess, lessening the amount of windows for whatever reason. I mean, if you're losing the secondary hull bump entirely, you're losing all those windows. You know, they have more science labs than any ship in the fleet. Well, do you need 14 science labs that are 3 times the size they have to be? If you're rebuilding the secondary hull from scratch, you're going to build smaller labs that are more efficient. So I can imagine them saying, yeah, we're going to less space for crew, which therefore does this, this, and this, so therefore less windows. But it does feel like less window, because, you know, why would 5 windows now be replaced with 1 line of blue? It doesn't make sense, so it's obviously not a window anymore.
Another great view is the one from the next time on. You see it from the bottom a little bit and also from the back, which I noticed. And you can see a few changes here as well. Again, the secondary hull is completely different.
Sleeker. Lovely curve point. Lovely, yeah.
And the cutouts, you know, we sometimes complain about negative space or cutouts, especially in pylons. Here, I think I like it. It works for me. The explanation for it is a little bit... I need to hear an explanation for it for an in-universe reason, but I think it looks good.
But it's all again to the point where if there isn't, but if there was 2 licenses for Star Trek, like every ship's got to put negative space. Cerritos has negative space. Discovery always had negative space. It's like, why does everyone want negative space? Like, I get Mike's response of less mass, but in space that doesn't matter so much. Hull strength is more important than slightly more speed in a gravity environment. And more rooms is more important, and more deuterium stores are more important. But no, I agree. Because the secondary hull is so bulky, it actually adds something by removing something. And it does tell us, again, as the audience, everything is now smaller on the inside, so we can have less. We can have less because everything's now been refined. And yeah, that secondary hull is a ton better. And while the shuttle bay is, I'm not going to call it direct parallel, it also looks as if they've changed how that entire back bit. I've still got the outside door bit, but it's now the hull been pulled back in a bit, so it feels like it pops out more. Like the arrangement is just different. And the impulse engines like actually feed down into a flat, actually curved in a sense, rather than just like, that's weird. Cool though. Huh.
Well, one of the things that I noticed almost right away from the back view, because we did get a shot of it from the back, is the neck. The neck looks so much better with that V shape as opposed to just the straight. I think that was a huge improvement. It ties it more in with the Enterprise D kind of feel. And I think it works. It just adds so much. It's such a simple thing, but it's a big deal. The impulse engines are a huge improvement. That looks so much more futuristic and so much more advanced. Definitely
thinner secondary hull. Definitely. I mean, you look at the way the shuttle bay is the big scale indicator there. Definitely a little bit thinner.
And then the lighting on the nacelles, again, a very subtle change, but at the same time, the same overall appearance. Like at first glance, people would be like, oh, "This is Discovery, just different color." It's these breakdown videos that I really appreciate because we get to show you guys the little minute differences that have been made that you might not notice. As far as being detachedness cells, a lot of people have said it looks like when it's in motion they're actually attached. Could be the case. I just think they're still detached, but very slightly because they don't want to make it too obvious, I don't think. But I'm sure that we'll see the cells have some kind of function, especially when it goes. I want to see a spore jump is what I want to see. I want to see how the new tech integrated with the old tech as far as that goes, because that'll be a real tell. Like we'll have a whole video about that when that happens, I'm sure. Because does the saucer still spin? What other visual changes will we see? I have no problem with the nacelles attaching at points like you think they would most of the time, but still be able to detach if necessary. It's kind of hard to tell from this picture whether they are attached or not, but
I'm sure it uses a way more power to detach the nacelles and to have them integrated, which would be a nice way of having the other ships of the fleet be able to be visible, to have things attached and detached. Not like a source separation or anything, but yeah, maybe when we go to warp, kind of like with Voyager nacelles doing this, maybe they go, and that's how they prep their warp drive. Because it's useful to have them attached, and the fact that we see the hull or pre-attached and then detaching tells us fully capable of doing so.
Like most ships, from certain angles, this thing won my heart a little bit, but yeah.
It's also because you're hiding the nacelle length with your thumbs.
Yeah, the new one is definitely growing on me for sure. It's a mass improvement with just a few slight changes, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, so well done, team. We can't wait to see it in motion and 3D renders, etc. Hopefully the interior will be more different than we think. We know most of the rooms aren't because it's practical sets, but maybe as we go on. But yeah, good job, guys. Took you long enough, but this you had the opportunity, you jumped on it. Can't wait to see more, and obviously I'll definitely get this one from Eagle Moss. As we know, the refits tend to be often the best ones. The Connie to the refit, people like the refit a bit more of its sex appeal. Well, I think this one will be more of a fan appreciated one.
And guys, if you want to get this one from Eagle Moss, there's a link down in the description. Click that. When it's available, use the discount code Trekyards10 to save yourself 10%. That works on everything. XL, Discovery, regular collection, anything, even the Battlestar Galactic and other collections. The only thing it doesn't work on is pre-orders. So when this gets announced for pre-order, you can't use the discount code, unfortunately, but you can use it once it's actually available. So there you go. You can save yourself some money and get this ship in your hot little hands.
And by saving money, you could always help the Trekyards team out. We put content out for you every single week, and during the shows, as you know, all this year, a lot of content every single week for free. But we do rely on our Patreon supporters, the people that join the YouTube channel with a monthly donation as well. PayPal directly at trekyards@hotmail.com, or join our lives and Super Chat. We love that because we get to directly interact with you. If you can help, please do. If you can't, just enjoy. But if you can, please do.
That's right. And don't forget, as always, to hit that like button. Put your comments down below what you thought of the design. Did you notice anything we didn't? Do you have any questions about the design? Put them in the comments. I'm sure other people will be able to chat with you and have a conversation about that as well. And don't forget to be subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell icon so you don't miss any new content. We will be looking at anything new and exciting coming from Discovery. And so far, there's been quite a bit for Season 3. So by all means, check out our other videos. Our first reaction to this ship was yesterday, so go check that out as well. It's a little bit different video, so you might want to. It's like a supplement to this one, so it's the A, even though it came first. You know what I mean? Go check it out. And when I see you over there, until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Chronicling Zay, as I said at the start.
Oh,
Bye, guys.
I should be saying the A. I'm Canadian. A.
I know.
Bye, guys.
Bye.